Terry, hi, Jim Delapine here. I want to give you some video feedback here and tips on your masterpiece here. So, first of all, what I'd like to do is make Ray more of a hero. So I'm going to select all of the text here. I'm going to disregard your text here rather, and let me scroll down and select all of these layers, and I want to bring Roy up a bit. All right, so I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to select the background layer, which is fine, but I want to reposition it so that there's no interference with these guitars in this mountain range. So you've got this dark area going in the center here. So let me hit Control T and then Control minus to bounce out and see what I can do about scaling this image up and repositioning this somehow. Maybe bring this down. Okay, so I'm going to make the horizon kind of horizontal, and I think this would be fine, something like that. This way we have, although, yeah, it's that horizon here, these mountains, this mountain strip. All right, I'll have it going right through the middle. Okay, good. So this way it kind of better outlines. Well, actually, that's not good. I want these to be in the center. Okay. Actually, maybe we can, let me see here. Let me just scale Roy up a bit. A little bit more. Alright, we're really going to make him a hero here. Alright, so something like that. Alright, good, good. I like that because this way he's on the road. There's no interference with the mountains. It's running straight through that amplifier, and all of these details are in the sky, which is now, it makes all those elements visible. So now what I want to do is this. Let's work with the text. Actually, no, let's work with individual elements here. I see that you've got your clipping mask with your adjustment layers. That's great. So let's make the individual elements a little more exciting here. I see that all you did was you focused a lot. Oh, whoops, what happened here? You focused a lot on levels. So let me show you some other options here. So this guitar, this seems a little gray, and let's make this guitar a little happier by creating an adjustment layer for use saturation, immediately clipping it, and then I'll increase the saturation. So now we have a nice, more vibrant color. You may want to do that with other sort of things like this guitar. It's a dark red. Let's see if we can do something with that. Let me increase the vibrancy of that red and the other colors in it. Okay, so that might be a little bit much. All right, so then we can, you may want to do that with other, like the amplifier. That seems a little dull, so if we do the same thing, use saturation, clip that using Alt or Option, click in between, and increase the vibrancy of that color. Okay, so yeah, you may want to do that with a symbol, anywhere there's a color. You don't want to overdo it, but this looks good. So now what we'll do is let's talk about text. And you had specifically asked me about shadows. So I don't see any area. Well, you know something? There's one thing that bothers me. This perspective here is wrong. So this does not look like he's standing on the ground. So let me rotate this a little bit. And now he's standing on the ground. This I had specifically asked for different angles, so you know what? I'm just going to delete that foot and make this the standing point, okay? There, that makes sense now, and the perspective is correct. So now what I'll do is this. Let's talk about how to be creative with this text as opposed to the traditional this here, okay? So I don't really like that. So I just created this text here to save time. So let's see what we can do about I have these individually on different layers. So let me just put this here for now. So with Roy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place Roy on the road. Okay, the text on the road. So I'm going to hit Control T, and I'm using Arial Black. You want something that's very, very bold and black, so I'm scaling this up, and then I'm going to hold down the Control key and click and pull this out, and I'm going to try to match the perspective of the roadway. It's going to be a little tricky with this here. You may want to also right-click on the text layer and just simply rasterize the text. It'll give you some more options here, so let me just see if I can pull this. I can go to Edit, Transform, Perspective, and that may help, especially since, yeah, you know what? Here, let me just undo this back. Let me go back in time, and then I just hit Control Alt Z Z Z, and that goes back. So let me scale this up quite a bit. And now I'll go to Edit, Transform, Perspective. Oops. See, now it's because it's a text layer, I don't have access to the perspective options. So that's one of the reasons that you want to rasterize the type. So now, Edit, Transform, Perspective. And this will give us a perspective kind of thing here. Okay, so it's pretty dramatic. It's pretty dramatic, but that's okay. All right, so now I'll scale this in a little bit, actually quite a bit, and then fine tune it. It's maybe a little bit too much of the exaggeration. So Control or Command clicking on these corner bounding boxes will kind of exaggerate it more. So actually, that looks like it works. I'm looking at the perspective lines here. All right, so I want it to look like it's on the road. So now I'll use this selection. So I don't want that text on the road. So I'll Control click on that selection. I'll hide the text layer. Then I'll go down to my road, and I'll hit Control J. So what that did was it copied what's in that selection to the layer above. Okay. So I have that on its own layer. So now let's see what we can do with the layer style. So I'll double click on this and make sure preview is checked. And let's see what bevel in and boss looks like. Outer, let's go to inner. I don't know. This may or may not work, but see what you can do with it. Let's see, drop shadow certainly will not work. I want this to look like I don't want it to look like it's on the surface. I want it, I don't know what I want yet. Let's see, so you can put a color overlay to give it some color. So I'll click on that. You can select a color. I'll click OK to that, and then lessen the transparency, or better yet, I'll select multiply from the drop-down menu. Actually, it's not looking good there. I don't like that multiply. We go to normal and then decrease the opacity so we can see the road, and it's subtle. I'm really not liking that at all, but you experiment. So let's also talk about making the overall background a little more vibrant by creating a hue saturation adjustment layer. In this case, since there's no underlying layers, you don't have to clip it, but now what you can do is simply increase the vibrancy of that. So now we have a more colorful, more happy background. So that's before and after. All right, I'm not liking Roy at all. So now what we can do with Rockin' Rhapsody, I don't know. Perhaps what we can do is have fun with this. Let me see here. I don't know. Let me put this on pause for a second. Okay, I think here's what I've decided. I've placed these Rockin' Rhapsody here, and then I'm going to, I want to keep this away from the edge here. Alright, so now what I'll do is hit Control T. I have a thought in mind. I'm going to move the amp over a little bit. Well, maybe not. So now I'll stretch this up, hit enter, and now what I can do is, of course the color's not right, but now what I'll do is I'll create a layer mask for rocking, and then I will make it appear as if it's behind the mountains by selecting a paintbrush that has right bracket key increases your brush size, left bracket key decreases. Since the background is now slightly blurry, you may want to get a slight blur to your brush. So I'm selecting 25% to give you a little blur. You may want to go a little harder. Alright, and with the right brackets brush size, I can click. I'll just do this quick. You know, obviously, if you go over it and you want to come back, you can hit X to swap your foreground and background color, and then paint it back in. Okay. Actually, that's what I like to do. I like to go over it. And then swap it and then paint it back in. It's just easier that way. All right, so you can do, I mean, that's something. You know, you could do the same thing for the other side. All right, you may want to make this color, let's go back here. You can go back, you can go back by double clicking on the FX icon and go back to your color overlay and change that to another color. Change that to red to make it a little more matching if you want. And then, I don't like that at all, but you get the idea. So, and of course you'd want to take rocking and place it underneath the guitar. Why isn't that so? What did I just do? I just clicked on something. Let me see here. Okay, so rocking has to come down. Yep, it's behind there now. Okay, so I would do the same thing over here for Rhapsody, but then I would shift Roy over a bit. So now that means coming down to the bottom here and selecting the right foot, going all the way up to the top here, shift clicking on here, but then deselecting wherever Rhapsody is. We just move this whole thing over here. Okay, so now you've got equal spacing in between here. You're equally away on both edges, and I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to stop there. I'm trying to think of something else. Oh, the next thing would be your shadow. So make sure that you create the shadow onto the roadway. I'm losing my voice here. All right, and they go through the tutorials about how to, create a selection about the entire character, and then have that shadow go down the roadway. Make sure you put that into multiply mode. Okay? Hope that helped. Take care.